welcome to our special election show as the second phase of polling wrapped up today. I'm Gargi Rawat.
Hello, I'm Kitty Behel. Through the day, NDTV reporters have been bringing you all the live action, all big faces from the polling booths. In our special edition, we'll be going across to them again in just a bit.
So today, polling took place in 88 Lok Sabha seats across 13 states. Now, the focus for everyone has been voter turnout. Remember, in the first phase, there was a worry that it was low voter turnout. And once again, unfortunately, it seems a low voter turnout, Kitty. It's,
right.
The provisional numbers are out. 61.4% numbers have been released, percentage has been released as the voter turnout by the Election Commission. And in 2019, in the second phase, it was 70% for the second phase. So again, a dip. And of course, this is a provisional number. By tomorrow, we'll expect that number to go up like we saw in the first phase, where again, it was around 60% on the Friday evening. And by Saturday, it had increased to 65%.
Right.
Now, the highest turnout has been in Tripura at 78.0%.
Well, the lowest voter turnout has been recorded in UP. This is at 53.2% till 6 p.m. Maharashtra, we are learning, has recorded voting percentage at 53.7%, while Bihar has also recorded voting percentage at around 54%. In Rajasthan, it's 60.5%. Well, Assam, for that also numbers are out 70.7% in comparison to 81.3% in 2019.
Right, so
these are the voter percentages that we saw in phase 2 in 2019.
That's right. So a worry there. And remember, this has been something of a worry for the BJP as well. The Election Commission has also been, asking people to come out and vote. And here at NDTV also, Kitty, last couple of days, we've been carrying that, advert, that video, which is asking young people to come out and vote. What has been worrying is a number that a lot of the, analysts have been talking about how below 40% first-time voters have actually registered to vote. And once again, in cities is the big issue. And, Bengaluru did vote today, and once again, I think a low voter turnout there. So 88 seats polling today across 13 states. And if we talk about, the breakup of the states, well, in Kerala, all 20 seats went to the polls today. Remember, that's been a big talking point as we've seen this major push by the BJP to South India and, especially Kerala hoping to open their account there. And I think there's been quite a few jokes cracked on this subject of opening the account.
Saying that the BJP can only open bank accounts, but not
and
its
JP
account
Nadda was very
Kerala.
offended by that, and he made a statement against that. 14 seats went to the polls in Karnataka, so half the seats there, and the BJP, of course, hoping to repeat that 2019 when they got 25 out of the 28 seats in the state there, and so 14 going to the polls in Karnataka. All the Bengaluru seats going to the polls today. The Congress, though, has been exuding a lot of confidence. Rajasthan completed polling today with 13 of the remaining seats polling today. The BJP hoping for that 25 on 25 again this time for a third time. But the Congress pretty confident that they're going to get a number of seats here. Ashok Gehlot even going as far as to say it's going to be in double digits.
Yes, well, that happens or not, that remains to be seen. Of course, the results are going to be out on June 4th only. Maharashtra and UP also, if we talk about here, Gargi, have voted for 8 seats each. Now, Maharashtra and the contest in UP is also quite keenly watched. Total of 80 seats in UP, the highest number of seats that any state has, that is Uttar Pradesh, and of course Maharashtra after that. Voting took place in seats of MP today, Assam, Bihar, Bengal, as well as northeastern states of Manipur, Tripura and Assam. Well, the Jammu seat as well. In northeastern states so far, Gargi, we've seen how there has been good voter turnout so far.
That's right.
In Tripura, we've seen that, in Assam as well. But in the northern part of the country so far, there has been some downward
and a lot
spike.
of talk about the heat wave, the heat conditions. We saw in Bihar, in fact, the Election Commission extended the voting time so that towards the evening, perhaps more number of people would come out and cast their vote. In fact, the opposition has been hitting out over the kind of controversies that are taking place currently. The Prime Minister attacking the Congress over the wealth distribution issue and the inheritance tax, and also talking about minorities as well. And this is something that many analysts consensus and opposition claim is the worry over the low voter turnout. And so they want to, bring up these issues that get people a little excited, a little more, emotional and come out to the polling booths, and a lot of messaging, as we said, on the ground. A lot of directions were given to the various states and the leaders in those states, especially Rajasthan, to make sure that, the workers on the ground bring the electorate to those polling booths.
Well, absolutely. And let's first go to Rajasthan. We have our reporters on the ground. Harsha is joining us from Jodhpur. We also have Pratibha joining us from Bengaluru. All right. Vedant joining us from Noida, which is a part of the Gautam Buddha Nagar constituency. Uma Sudhir also we have. She is from Kerala, and Ratnadeep also joining us. We have Saurabh Gupta as well from Bengal. Let me first take the question to Harsha here. Well, Harsha, you are in Jodhpur. And as we've been talking about it, the BJP is looking to make a hat-trick here. The Congress also, of course, is looking for an opening after 10 years. Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, one of the union ministers who's been fielded, he's hoping for a hat-trick from Jodhpur.
How does the ground situation? Harsha is looking most relaxed now because her work is over now till June, till the 4th of June when the counting takes place.
Well, yes, so the voting took place in these two phases, and so of course it's over now. So Harsha, how does it look like on the ground? Phase 1, as we've been talking about, voter turnout was a big worry. And phase 2, how has been the voting so far in phase 2?
Well, the voting has definitely been encouraging as compared to phase 1. But although I must say that on the ground, I think this time it's been a very closely fought election. And in fact, a lot of people here have been saying this is the first time that the BJP has actually fought an election. They've had to sweat on the ground. And that's why somewhere the Congress is a little hopeful that they will open their account. Because, in the absence of an overarching wave, of course, the Prime Minister was the main face of this campaign. But, in the absence of an overarching wave, local factors did come into play. Also, somewhere people, the voters especially, started asking after 10 years, what have you done for our constituency? What is the work that you've promised? Has that been done or not? So these were natural questions, healthy for democracy, that were asked. And I think somewhere in that senses, this was a very interesting election because you found voters speaking their mind. You found people discussing caste issues. You found people discussing local factors, development issues. And of course, then you had, the incumbent MPs having to sort of, really, work for it, convince voters, go out in the field. So in that sense, some of them were really sweating by the end of this election. I think along with me, they'll also be resting because it's 25 seats done. Though, of course, someone like Gajendra Singh Shekhawat will have to move to another state to help out with elections there. But having said that, yes, the voter turnout in the first phase was definitely a cause of concern. I think the red flag warning was taken seriously by parties. They seem to work today to get voters out. In fact, in the last, when I was at a booth, there were these little rickshaws coming in and political party workers were bringing people in, the last stragglers, sort of bringing them out of their homes, saying, come and cast your vote. So there was a lot of hurried last-minute voting. That's why I do think it will go up from 60%, though, of course, in the first phase, it's minus 6% as compared to last year. It should go up. And, of course, like I said, it's a closely contested election. And today, yes, absolutely, Gargi Ashok Gehlot told me in the morning कि अगर double digit में भी आ जाए हर्षा तो आश्चर्य मत करना, he told me. So, well,
yes.
Let's see.
Very
I have a long wait
there.
till the 4th of June.
Right, and his own son, Vaibhav Gehlot, contesting this election. In fact, two, sons of big Rajasthan leaders, Vasundhara Raje's son as well as Ashok Gehlot's son there contesting this election. Well, thanks so much for that, Harsha. And let's go across to Uma, who joins us from Thiruvananthapuram. And Kerala has been such a talking point. Uma, all 20 seats there going to the polls. And all right, before we go to Uma, we'll go across to Pratibha, who joins us from Bengaluru. And Pratibha, Karnataka, the Congress really is saying they're going to do really well. 14 seats going to the polls today, all the Bengaluru seats. And what was the turnout there? Because that has been a big, a point of why the apathy. We saw through the day you were interviewing all the big faces, all the stars who had come out to cast their vote. But voter apathy, a real concern in Bengaluru.
That's right. 14 of the 28 constituencies here in Karnataka going to polls, and all eyes were on Bengaluru definitely in terms of trying to create a record of sorts compared to what happened in 2019, where it was the lowest voter turnout here in Bengaluru as compared to the state average as well as the national average. But this time around, it is abysmally poor when it comes to the Bengaluru voter turnout, which is hovering at around 49% right as we speak. And of course, yes, it has been a heavily fought contest between the Congress as well as the BJP as far as the Bengaluru constituencies are concerned. And most of the constituencies also fall in the old Mysuru region because remember, that is also a region where the JDS holds a lot of influence, and it is also the backyard of the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah. Now, what will really happen with respect to the outcome in this Lok Sabha election would also kind of reflect on what happens in the backdrop. Right behind me, it is the powerhouse of Karnataka. So the continuance of the Chief Minister would hinge on the outcome of this Lok Sabha election. And in the meantime, we are also having the Bengaluru constituencies where it is a direct contest between the BJP as well as the Congress. I started my day at Bengaluru South, which is one of the most watched constituency because it has BJP's Tejaswi Surya fighting against Soumya Reddy of the Congress. And Soumya Reddy also happens to be the daughter of one of the most prominent ministers in the Karnataka government. And that apart, we have right where I'm standing is Bengaluru Central, where it is a three-time MP, Mr. PC Mohan, who's been holding the fort here, and he has been contesting against Mansoor Khan, who is also a candidate who is the son of a former minister here in the Karnataka government. And we have Bengaluru North, which is also again a contest between Shobha Karanlaje, a seasoned politician, and Mr. Rajiv Gowda, who is a seasoned academician. These are some of the interesting contests that have been played out. While what is most interesting is Bengaluru Rural, where the voter turnout has been hovering at around 61%. And that is, remember, one of the constituencies that voted for the Congress, while the rest of the constituencies, at least most of the constituencies, sided with the BJP in 2019. A heavily fought contest there as well between DK Suresh of the Congress and Dr. C.N. Manjunath of the BJP, who also happens to be the son-in-law of former PM H.D. Deve Gowda. Now, all eyes are on what would really be the outcome of the voter turnout in Bengaluru and its impact on the Lok Sabha results. But yes, all eyes are on
Right.
the second phase as far as Karnataka election is concerned, and that will be in northern Karnataka.
All right, Pratibha, thank you so much for all that information. We'll come back to you. Let me also go across to our colleague Uma Sudhir here. Uma, all 20 seats of Kerala have voted today. So far, it has been a bipolar contest with the LDF fighting against the UDF. But a lot of talk about BJP opening its account this time around with a lot of visits that have been made by the Prime Minister himself. How does the ground situation look like?
So certainly the BJP made a contest of it by the Prime Minister's multiple visits, as you mentioned, half a dozen visits in the new year itself. And yes, getting high-profile candidates to contest as well. So you have Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar here in Tirunanthapuram, where also the Prime Minister has campaigned for him. And of course, he himself has been quite high-profile. In fact, almost matching the, kind of stature or a public persona that Shashi Tharoor has had, not just in Tirunanthapuram but across the country. Of course, he comes with the tag of also being a central minister, and that does make a difference to a Kerala, which very often feels that they are, falling off the map because they don't have, in that sense, MPs from the BJP here. So many interesting contests, at least 6 to 7 constituencies in which it could be a three-cornered contest. 3 of those, constituencies in which the BJP is more hopeful. The Prime Minister had spoken about going from a double-digit vote share, which was about 13%, which the BJP reached in 2019. He had very ambitiously set a target of double-digit seats for the BJP in a state which has never, in fact, elected a BJP MP. But this time round, they are hopeful for a Thiruvananthapuram where they had managed to get 30% of the vote last time round, and this time with the kind of campaign that they have fought, reaching out to those sections which may not have earlier voted for the BJP, so they are seeing their own vote share go up. Then the other one is Thrissur, where Suresh Gopi, actor politician, has campaigned quite hard. There too the Prime Minister was there, appealing to the women community as well, doing a road show and so on. Then the others like Pathanamthitta, Alapura, all of those are constituencies where there are multi-cornered contests and something that is being watched very carefully. The voting percentage compared to a Bengaluru and the rest of the country in the first phase, Kerala always had a great record of doing good numbers, and the kind of involvement, engagement and passion that Kerala seems to show towards voting, that was quite reflective in the kind of numbers that we are once again looking set to see. The final numbers I don't think have come yet, but does look like it will be 70 to 75% voting that will happen. Of course, much of that also got pushed to the last hour and 2 hours, and experts talking about that as some kind of a deal for vote transfers as well.
Right, Uma, so if we talk about the numbers, Kerala has a 65% provisional turnout, whereas in 2019 it was 77.8. So yes, let's see what the numbers will be tomorrow. But briefly, Uma, also what's been interesting in this Kerala fight has been the Congress, and left, the kind of talk between both them. Rahul Gandhi attacking the chief minister, and the left attacking Rahul Gandhi for contesting from Wayanad again.
Yes, indeed. All across the state. See, you must understand that historically, politically in Kerala, the UDF and the LDF have always fought very, very bitterly, very, very fiercely. And that's what continued in this election as well. And people in Kerala don't seem to see it as a contradiction that you are joining hands as part of the Indie Alliance and you're fighting here like bitter political enemies. And Shashi Tharoor gave the justification as well, giving examples from all across the country about AAP and the Congress and what happens with the DMK and the left parties in Tamil Nadu as well. So all those, examples apart, what I must point out is that the UDF in fact carried out a campaign whose tagline actually was Madhyai. Madhyai means enough is enough, which is what they were talking about the LDF here in Kerala. So that is also a very strong kind of a campaign. While Rajiv Chandrasekhar from his side spoke as though, we'll begin the work now. That was his tagline, as though, as though Shashi Tharoor has not been doing any work and now I've arrived and I'm going to start the work. So these are taglines that were being used in order to convey what they wanted to say, and therefore the people in Kerala are quite, I must say, we're going to have ideologically very fixed on the kind of loyalties that they have.
Well, let's go across to the other state with the left, and where the left and Congress are actually working together. Yes, Kitty.
Well, yes, let's go across to my colleague Saurabh here. Well, Saurabh, in Bengal, we've seen voting has taken place for 3 Lok Sabha seats, Darjeeling, Balurghat, Raiganj. How has been the voting so far, has been, and the big contest, as we do understand, has been in Balurghat. Party president, sitting MP of the BJP, Majumdar, is contesting from this seat. We've also heard there has been some trouble in the morning with a state minister taking him on. What happened there?
Let me just begin by saying that I envy Harsha because, of course, her, election is over. But in Bengal, we have election in all 8 phases. So that's going to be a long, drawn-out election for us here. But yes, the other thing is that, like you mentioned, there is, of course, a state where the left and the Congress seemingly working together, except for a few seats where both parties have put up candidates. But apart from that, they seem to be dividing their resources because obviously they've been down and out in the last election, reduced to 0. The Congress, of course, had a few Lok Sabha seats, but in the assembly election, they were reduced to 0. So the Congress, of course, will look to retain at least a few of the seats. Now, today, you had the Prime Minister campaigning in Malda. Malda has 2 seats, but the crowds at the Prime Minister's rally would have been somewhat of a, not a very good sign for the other parties in the contest there, because there was, I beg your pardon, huge crowds. But if those crowds translate into votes, the BJP would be very happy with that. Having said that, the Congress has fielded, candidates there. But today in Balurghat, both candidates were out on the ground, and what seemed like a battle was because of the fact that both these candidates practically went to each and every corner of the constituency. At some point, we gave up chasing them because they were just moving around the entire day. But having said that, Balurghat is one seat where the BJP is confident it will win. The Trinamool has fielded a local leader and therefore they believe they are posing a challenge and perhaps can even wrest this seat. But the BJP is quite confident they will win in this seat. The other seat, the neighbouring seat of Raiganj, is where there is a little bit of a worry. And here, of course, the Congress has fielded a very strong local leader. Now, that can go two ways. Either miraculously he pulls off a win for the Congress, because remember, Raiganj has been a seat of Priyaranjan Das Munshi and has been a Congress bastion for years before Mohammad Salim won it, and then, of course, the BJP won it. But, again, if the Congress doesn't win but cuts enough votes, then the BJP could very well, go first past the poll. In the first past the poll system, register a win. And that's something that the Trinamool has been pointing out, that look, the Congress and the left are helping the BJP in West Bengal. That's one. Now, obviously, the other thing is Darjeeling. Darjeeling, again, is a very, very comfortable seat, so to speak, for the BJP. But this time around, there is a challenge.
All right. Thanks so much, Saurabh, for joining us. With that, if we take a look at the, the voter percentage, the turnout is 71.8, the provisional turnout number, and it was 80.7 last time. So let's see how it increases tomorrow. Well, let's go to UP now, and Vedant joins us from there. And Vedant, today all the western UP seats going to the polls, which have been, these seats have traditionally been very comfortable for the BJP. And you also have the two seats of the NCR, Ghaziabad and Noida, also going to the polls. Tell us what the turnout has been like. Also, there was worry that in Noida and Ghaziabad you weren't seeing as much of a turnout as one was seeing in the rural areas.
That's right, Gargi. In fact, you guys were discussing, heat wave playing dampener, and here, of course, it started raining now, so a bit of a relief there after a hot day. But of course, in both Noida and Ghaziabad, the voter turnout has been significantly low this time. In fact, in Ghaziabad, it has fallen by over 9%, and that's a big worry. Let me very quickly enlist the reasons, perhaps, that I saw on the ground. That could be some of the reasons why, the voter turnout was significantly lower this time, and this applies to all the Western UP seats, in fact. Now, starting with the most important factor, which was local issues becoming extremely prominent in the absence of a larger overarching message or premise to this election. Of course, for example, in Noida, the home buyers issue became a very important issue. You had a poll boycott call by home buyers, so that became an important issue. If you go into the rural constituencies, like we've been traveling in the past couple of days, you see, issues that farmers have been facing for years now. For example, their crop being damaged by stray animals. So all of those issues became really important. Number two, perhaps what many call the unnatural alliance between the BJP and the RLD. That could be one reason as well, because on the ground, I can tell you for certain that the Karyakartas are disillusioned, and the electoral base might not, of the RLD, might not transfer as naturally towards the NDA. So that is, of course, one of the reasons. We, of course, saw Thakurs holding massive Mahapanchayats. So the caste arithmetic there extremely crucial. Where does the Thakur's allegiance really lie? That is an important factor here as well. Now, number three is, of course, Gargi, and I have to say this, that in the past couple of days, we have seen how the campaign has been divided on sharp communal lines. And, both Noida and Ghaziabad have a lot of young urban voters. And, it has to be said that they get disillusioned. They feel discouraged to vote when the poll discourse sort of is divided sharply on these lines. In fact, the Prime Minister reiterated that remark in Aligarh, which is in Western Uttar Pradesh. So that is one of the reasons as well. So these are perhaps some of the reasons why the voter turnout was low. But of course, a keenly watched battle, big faces in the fray, including Hema Malini, Danish Ali,
if the voter,
of course, Arun Govil.
Yes, voter percentage
Noida,
is going to increase
Mahesh
tomorrow or
Sharma
not, that remains to be seen. Of course, that's maybe a notch high, or that could happen. We'll have to wait for that tomorrow. Vedant, will come back to you. Let me go across to my colleague Paras here. Paras is in Akola. Well, 8 seats in Maharashtra voted today, Paras. 6 in the Vidarbha region. Well, the water issue, of course, is one of the main issues there. And Prakash Ambedkar, as we do understand, was meant to join the MVAs, back in the fray this time from Akola. What does the ground situation look like?
Gargi, it was a major blow to MVA when Mr. Prakash Ambedkar left MVA and he said that he will be fighting on his own in Akola. Akola is a very strong region for Prakash Ambedkar, and the support which Mr. Prakash Ambedkar is getting in Akola is very crucial right now, because Akola and Amravati, this both seats are very strong seat, and both on these seats there are triangular competition between the pratyashis, between the candidates. So right now the situation in Akola is in favor of Mr. Prakash Ambedkar, but looking at the reason behind the Akola situation, there is water scarcity in Akola, there are major issues in Akola. Who will be the major favorite candidate for the voters this time? This is the main question. In Maharashtra also this time 53.3% of voting has happened, and this is below the average voting which has happened last time. Major reason behind the low voting in Maharashtra is the heat wave which is happening, and heat wave which is there. In morning in Amravati and Akola, rain has started for some time, but after that there was a heat wave, and because of that this will be the main reason that voter has not came out to vote. In Akola and Amravati, these both seats are very important for Congress, Mahavikas Aghadi we can say, or Vanchit Bahujan Aghadi. In Amravati, BJP has Navneet Rana, who is sitting MP. So this is the major things which has happened today in Maharashtra, and will be very, very interesting to see on 4th June who will win, because the triangular competition which Amravati have and Akola have, it is very interesting
well, yes,
to see
in some seats we see it's a direct Sena versus Sena contest. In other seats we've seen now the Maratha reservation issue is dominant, of course.
That's right.
Thank you so much,
It will be interesting to see, but we're also going to go across to my colleague Nazir, who joins us from Jammu. But Nazir, we have to take a break first. We'll slip into a short break and come back to you. Welcome back to our special programming, as the second phase of elections have ended today, and the talk is all about the voter turnout. But first, let's go across to our colleague Nazir, who joins us from Jammu. And Nazir, tell us about the turnout in Jammu. Also, the first election that Jammu and Kashmir is seeing since the abrogation of Article 370, and also for Jammu, it's a changed demography with the delimitation.
Well, this constituency has gone through the change in terms of its demographic character or demographic complexion after the delimitation, when Udhampur, this Poonch and Rajouri districts, which are predominantly Muslim majority districts, were removed from Jammu constituency and made part of the Anantnag constituency. Having said that, it was very interesting day to watch voting patterns, preferences of people in the urban areas of Jammu and then the rural areas of Jammu, rural pockets where people voted in much more numbers. Both men and women came early in the morning. First thing they did the day to cast their vote, then they went to their fields, then they went to their job, whatever they have to do. In urban areas, people were through the day coming and casting their vote. So there were different issues, from local issues which Congress has managed to raise about the change post abrogation of Article 370, and BJP has talked about how nationalistic issues, the Prime Minister's image, and also how things have transformed in Jammu and Kashmir post abrogation of 370. Both sides have led an effective campaign. One important thing is the total voting percentage which today was less than what it was in 2019. In 2019, it was 72% voting, and today it was only 69%. So this 3% decrease in the voting turnout in Jammu parliamentary constituency. Who will this help? Only people would know who voted today, and results will tell us on 4th of June. But Jammu constituency, we say since morning, district polling, all the sides led a very, very effective campaigning. Top leaders of the BJP actually campaigned for their candidates. Jigal Kishore Sharma, who has won this seat for last 2 elections, is seeking third term hat-trick, and Congress is determined to, defeat him. And voters have given their verdict today, and now people are waiting for the third phase of elections will happen in Jammu and Kashmir in Anantnag constituency or not, because Election Commission has written a letter to J&K administration based on the applications by BJP, People's Conference, Apni Party. They want deferment of elections in Anantnag parliamentary constituency. So this political, this election commission intervention or asking a report about deferment of polls in Anantnag constituency has cast shadow on whether polling will happen on 7th of May or not. National Conference and PDP have strongly opposed any change in the date of polling. They say it is actually subverting democracy, derailing election process for the ulterior motives of political parties. But the BJP is saying, look, Mughal Road is not in a good condition and candidates are not able to reach out to their electorate in Poonch and Rajouri districts. But National Conference and PDP has said, look, BJP is not contesting elections in Anantnag Rajouri constituency, but they appear to be more concerned about whether the candidates would reach to the electorate or not. Having said that, we have to see what Election Commission will take decision on
All right,
holding these
Nazir,
elections.
we'll have to wait and watch on that, what the
Anantnag
EC's decision
Rajouri
would be on that.
constituency.
Nazir, thank you so much for getting us all that information. We also have Prabhakar, our colleague, with us. He's joining us from Purnia in Bihar. Well, Prabhakar, 5 seats polled today, and many say it's the test of Nitish Kumar's credibility. Well, he's been doing a lot of flip-flops in the recent past. Now, Purnia, if I specifically talk about here, this is the most talked about seat with Pappu Yadav's entry in the fray. His entry, of course, looks like, what many are saying puts RJD in jeopardy to win the seat first time. But of course, it has bolstered JDU's chances further. How does it look like on the ground for the RJD? Yeah.
See, as far as the second phase of polling is concerned, it's certainly the stakes are high for the India Alliance, for the RJD, for the Congress, because remember this entire belt, the Kosi belt, the Simanchal belt as we call it, the 5 constituencies right from Kishanganj to Purnia to Katihar and also Banka and Bhagalpur. These 5 constituencies, they have predominantly Muslim population. And if you remember in 2019, out of 40 Lok Sabha constituencies in Bihar, the NDA swept 39. The only constituency which went to Congress was the Kishanganj constituency. And even if you see the number of the MLAs from this particular area, this particular region, the Congress and the RJD dominates this region. So they have to defend this turf. This was actually for the JDU to dent into it. And remember, the BJP stays away from the direct fight here. This is the area because of the Muslim population here. What BJP does is usually it actually hands over the baton to the alliance partner. This time it's JDU basically. So in all the major seats we are talking about, the JDU was contesting on the behalf of BJP. BJP never directly files their candidate here, fields their candidates here, because they know it's tough to actually dent there. So it is for the Tejasvi, it is for the Congress actually to defend this terrain. But the bad news which is coming from here is the voting percentage going down. It's almost 4.5% down from 2019. So that is something disappointing, I would say, because despite all the efforts by the Election Commission, by the political leaders and by everyone else, the voting percentage is still dipping down. And as far as the Purnia is concerned, certainly you are right. Pappu Yadav was the candidate in fray as an independent. He was much talked about, much more than what the NDA candidate and the India Alliance candidate got the limelight. So he was actually the man in the spotlight, and that would be a very interesting battle to watch. The other important candidate in fray was from Katihar, Tariq Anwar. He is a former union minister, a very stalwart leader of Congress, and also Ajit Sharma from Bhagalpur. Neha Sharma happens to be his daughter. She's a film actor, and she was campaigning for last 15 days in Bhagalpur. So these are the 3 important candidates in fray: Pappu Yadav, Tariq Anwar, and Ajit Sharma. So it would be interesting to watch actually the final results as to how people voted this time.
All right. Thanks so much, Prabhakar, for joining us with the latest there. And thank you all reporters for getting us those ground reports. It's been a very, very long day for all of them. Well, let's now go across to our guests in studio. And we're joined by Sanjay Kumar, cephalogist and professor, CSDS, Nirja Chaudhary, a senior journalist joining us, and also spokespersons joining us as well. Adil Singh Boparai, national spokesperson, Congress Party, and Dr. Guru Prakash Paswan, spokesperson, BJP. Well, I'd like to start first with Sanjay Kumar. If if we talk about this voter turnout, and that's been a big focus point in the first phase as well. We've been talking about how it's a lower turnout. It's said that the BJP is worried about this, and that's one of the reasons that we're seeing some of these controversial statements being made.
I'm not sure why this interpretation is being given that BJP is worried about that, or maybe India Alliance is worried about that. My own sense is that if you look at why are we always trying to compare it with 2019, why 2019 should be a benchmark in terms of many aspects. 2019 was an unusual election. It registered a very, very high turnout. This is an election which registered the highest turnout in Indian election, 68%. So if you keep comparing the turnout with the 2019 turnout, I think we might get phase-wise a lower turnout. So if you compare it with 2009, 2004, any election which used to register roughly in the range of 60%, you might start finding a very reasonable turnout. So like in Bihar, we were discussing 3%, 4% dip in the turnout. This is not significant. Okay. So I think too much of interpretation is being given that a lower turnout would mean this or a higher turnout would mean this. The data indicates there is no straight correlation between higher turnout and a lower electoral outcome, vice versa.
Okay, so who it benefits, the BJP, the opposition, you can't really say because of, well, going by the past trends, as Mr. Sanjay Kumar here puts it. Ma'am, what would you say? Well, the total turnout so far that we have at the moment, the numbers that have come out is 61.4%. In first phase, as we've been talking about, the turnout was around 64%. The second phase has recorded further less percentage. How do we see this now?
Look, traditionally what was said was that a lower turnout helps the incumbent party.
Right.
And if you have a higher turnout, it means it's a vote for change. That is what we were brought up on.
Yeah.
Over the decades.
Somewhat changed. Yes.
But the situation is a little more complex than that. That's a very simplistic way of looking at it.
Sure.
Now, why is it that a voter turnout that dips is a sign of worry? And from all accounts, it is the ruling BJP that has got worried after the first phase, not so much the opposition, whereas it should have been the other way around.
Yeah.
Now, if the goal set by no other than the Prime Minister, none other than the Prime Minister, is 400 par, 370 for BJP. And we all know that the popularity of Mr. Narendra Modi has not gone down. So it's natural to expect that large number of people are going to come out to vote. If they don't come out to vote, one of the explanations is that the cadre hasn't come out. The cadre says it's a done deal, media says it's a done deal, we all say why
that's
go,
the other thing. There's some sort of like
so there is a little bit of apathy.
It's like it's a foregone conclusion or something like that, and that's leading to the apathy.
And the voter of the BJP may say, "Theek hai, it doesn't matter, it's so hot and why go out? Narendra Modi is coming back to power." That's one way of looking at it. The other thing, of course, is this time round, I mean, I've only been to very few places in Western Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, a bit in Haryana, a bit in Maharashtra. I find there is a greater expression of dissatisfaction about this not having been done, joblessness, prices are rising, smaller units, we've not got this, middle class has not got things that, the rich have got and the poor have got. Those voices are heard much more vigorously than I remember in 2019. Of course, 2019 was a very euphoric election, Pulwama, then, the surgical
overriding
strikes,
issues. 2014 you had change and development. Second, 2019 you had Pulwama. This time around it seems 400 par and Ram Mandir has sort of
now Ram Mandir
is
a very interesting. In Uttar Pradesh, everybody, including the candidates of the places I went to, they said this is not a Hindu-Muslim election. at all. Now, when you say they list A, B, C, D, why they are going to vote for the BJP or not, you ask them, what about Ram Mandir? Ram Mandir they are very happy with. We will go there, or we've been there, or relatives have been there, and there are stories of, people touching the feet of those who've been to Ayodhya.
And you have Arun Govil also right there in the fray in Meerut.
Meerut, that's right. And but that is not on top of the list of the reasons why they will vote.
Is
that
there
was
any
the
sort of
interesting thing.
disenchantment this time around, would you say?
There is no wave, I would say. There is no wave, but a large number of people say, we are going to, who will you vote for? We'll vote for Modi, he's done this, and after all, we've got to give him time, it's not an overnight thing. Or people who say, I don't know who to vote for.
All right, and before I go to our guest, and apologies there, it's Matthew Anthony from the Congress who's joining us. And just before we go to the spokespersons, Sanjay Kumar, is that something that you also agree with? And we know those surveys have been done by CSDS, and yes, people are concerned about jobs, people are concerned about price rise. But the Modi magic, the charisma remains predominant.
No, absolutely. The survey clearly indicates that there is a lot of anxieties among the voters with regard to the twin issues of price rise and unemployment. No doubt about that. But the same voter who expresses their concern about rising prices and increasing unemployment, many of them tended to indicate that they might still vote for BJP because the image of Prime Minister remains undented. He remains to be a very, very popular Prime Minister, and people want him to be re-elected as the Prime Minister. That is what trumps their anxieties about unemployment and price rise.
All right, well, let's take that to Matthew Anthony.
All right, Mr. Anthony, what would you say? Well, what is the Congress hoping this time around? There has been a low voter turnout that we are talking about here on our panel. Well, this could go either way. Either it benefits the BJP or the opposition. There is no clear trend. But what is the Congress looking at? What are you hoping for?
Thanks to you as well as to all the viewers. I would quote Abraham Lincoln here. A ballot is powerful than a bullet. So let's wait till the June 4th to see how powerful is the ballot this time. Because we are fighting this election on a couple of issues which are very critical to the ordinary people. After our leader Rahul Gandhi traveling crisscross the country, total around close to 4,300 and 6,600 kilometers, taking feedback from the people, and then putting in a manifesto which is revolutionary in its term, addressing the unemployment, the price rise, and the social inequality. We are definitely going to see the change in the elections where people are going to vote for us. As per the psephologist earlier who said that there is no wave in this election, the wave is not there for the ruling party, which they were kind of tuned to for the last two elections. The wave is the silent wave like the 2004. When India was shining, the communication was made, too much of money was spent on the advertisement. Nobody expected the UPA to come in power. That's exactly what is going to happen in 2024. That's what we're going to see on the June 4th. And on the number and the percentage of the voting, if we have to analyze the numbers in partial form, it is too early a judgment to make on. But we are very sure about a very confident win and forming the government in June 2024.
All right, so
because the Prime Minister has failed. I'll tell you. Give me a couple of seconds more. The Prime Minister has failed this country with habitual lying across. If you really ask, I have my BJP spokesperson here. I just need to ask a question to him, as well as the nation also would like to know that what was the promise made by the BJP Prime Minister that they will bring a 15 lakhs to the people's account? Where is that 15 lakhs, or was this a lie to the people of India? I need a factual answer. I don't need a distracted answer. I also need to know an answer from the BJP.
Also, Mr. Anthony, I think people also want to know who's contesting from Amethi and Rai Bareli, and whether now that the Wayanad election is done, whether that announcement will finally be made. You already have one UP ka ladka who is contesting. Akhilesh Yadav has, filed his nomination. We're waiting to see if the second UP ka ladka will do the same. But yes, Dr. Guru Prakash Paswan, your response to that, and also to what is being said by the opposition, by the analysts, that worry over the low voter turnout is what has led the Prime Minister and the BJP to really double down on all this, this narrative of the Congress will do wealth distribution and it will go to the minorities, or even this inheritance tax, which that is something, of course, the Congress did walk into itself.
No, Gargi, I think I would like to take from where Sanjay ji left, and I think the CSDS survey was very telling at so many levels. And we often talk about Modi magic and how the popularity of Prime Minister Modi is 50%, and Rahul Gandhi ji is almost halfway from it. So I think he's a distant second with respect to that. We speak of Modi magic, but what fuels this Modi magic? I don't understand this. How can you speak in the same breath about Modi magic and at the same time discount all the hard work, all the Modi mehnat that is behind Modi magic? So I think that is point number one. Point number two, low voter turnout. How should it only be a concern for the Bharatiya Janata Party? We are the world's largest democracy. Low voter turnout must be a concern for all across party lines. Period. I seriously, from the first phase of election, many commentators, many political analysts have been targeting the Bharatiya Janata Party. We are in this mission. Prime Minister Modi has been categorically stating, the Election Commission of India, many other institutions, we are constantly working in favor of high voter turnout. But I think maybe it is one of the work that has been given to us, and we'll do it in the future. The concern from my friend Congress Party spokesperson, he said that about 15 lakh rupees. I would like to remind him that Congress Prime Minister Mr. Rajiv Gandhi said, Delhi se 1 रुपए चलता है, 15 पैसे पहुंचते हैं. More than 50 crore Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan accounts have been opened, and more than 23 lakh crore have already been transferred under different public welfare scheme. So I think for a Prime Minister that used to say that 1 rupees and 85 paise is lost in the leakages, for the Congress Party to make a complaint on that, that is something which is really laughable. And the last point that you said, Gargi, about wealth distribution, I think we just need to join the dots. Mr. Rahul Gandhi is speaking about economic, socio-economic caste survey. Sam Pitroda, who is not a normal general karyakarta of the Congress Party, but the president of the Indian Overseas Congress, is speaking about 55% inheritance tax. On the contrary, Congress Party former Prime Minister Mr. Manmohan Singh has gone on record and said that the first right or the first claim over the resources of this country is of Muslim minorities. So I think you just need to connect the dots of the financial assault that the Congress.
Well, he said minorities, and he said other backwards, etc. And the Congress has said that the BJP is taking this out of context. But Nirja, this has been the big talking point on all the news channels, and when we report about the election and how the Prime Minister has been attacking the Congress
Mr.
over
Kharge
this.
Also has now sought time with the Prime Minister. He
to
says he
explain,
wants
and
to explain the Nyay
that
Patra. He's being misled by his advisors, basically.
So how much do you think this is getting traction on the ground?
What the Prime Minister has been saying?
This whole attack over the wealth redistribution, minorities.
I don't have a sense of that. I've heard voices of people who say that, should he be speaking like that? And the Election Commission has sent notices to Mr. Nadda, the President of the BJP, as also to Mr. Kharge, President of the Congress, on Rahul's
because the Election Commission always sends to the individual
but they have taken note of it in both cases. And there are people who I've heard from, yes, Mangal Sutra, there is worry. Aisa ho sakta hai kya? There are both kinds of voices. But the Prime Minister has certainly shifted the narrative after the first phase. Yes. It has gone back to polarization big time, because he is targeting not only the middle class would be worried about an inheritance tax that Sam Pitroda talked about, or what Rahul had talked
they
about,
just walked into
the financial survey and the institutional survey.
We're running out of time. I'd like to get a quick comment from Sanjay ji also on this, and before I go back to Matthew. Yes, we're just coming back to you. Last word from you.
Neerja has already mentioned that it's creating a narrative. And we must, I agree that narratives actually are very helpful in contesting election. If you are able to create a narrative, voters don't test whether it is a right or a correct or a incorrect thing. If you are able to create narrative, and I do endorse that, yes, it is creating a narrative on the ground.
Okay, all right. Mr. Anthony, you wanted to reply to what Mr. Guru Prakash said.
Yeah, I'm saying that Sam Pitroda's comment was qualified as an individual statement. The party has made a very clear stand about it, and we make the statement very clear. Our position is very clear. Our position is very clear that we are fighting the election on unemployment. We are fighting the election on price rise. We are fighting the election on social inequality. We have never mentioned about an inheritance tax, whereas it is BJP, Jayant Sinha, Arun Jaitley and Amit Malave who have spoken about inheritance tax, and TV Mohandas Pai also, and not us. So we are the ones who have scrapped the inheritance tax. So let us have the clarity on that one. And then on the 15 lakhs, my dear friend from the BJP is saying that he's saying of the Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana, whereas the 15 lakhs is an absolute lie. by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is a habitual liar, and in this inheritance tax also, and in the polarization also, he has lied to the people of India. In a very shameless manner, the Prime Minister has lied to the people of India.
Well, the problem is whether the Congress has been able to counter that narrative. But yes, Guru Prakash, go ahead.
No, Gargi, I think this is precisely the arrogant mindset of the Congress party and the Congress leadership. Since 2000, for the last 25 years, they have been abusing the Prime Minister left, right and center. They have been using such level of superficial languages, which is unbecoming of a politician. And again, neech jati ka hai. Obviously, the Congress party and the Congress leadership of feudal arrogance, they cannot tolerate an Adivasi ki beti at the highest constitution.
There is no remark mentioned like that.
I did not speak. Gargi, I did not speak. Gargi ji.
Yes.
Okay, let's give Dr. Guru Prakash some time here.
Yeah, thank you. You said things about my Prime Minister, sir. I did not speak. That's the basic decency. I think the entire Congress leadership, and I'm not speaking for here, the entire Congress leadership for the last 25 years have been abusing, have been criticizing. You can criticize, but you cannot use abusive language. And the same thing happened that for the first time in the history of our country, Gargi, we had a Adivasi ki beti at the highest constitutional office. What comments were made? Devil mindset, Rashtrapati, let's not even go there. The fact of the matter is the Congress cannot tolerate, the Congress cannot accept a person from extremely humble background, a person from a backward community as one of the most powerful prime ministers of the country.
All right, there's one last line. Let's get one last line, Matthew Anthony, and then we have to wrap this show.
This face-off is not going to end anytime soon, but yes, we don't have much time.
The nation has witnessed who has made the President of India stand while she was giving the award.
That is again a lie. That is a lie, sir.
Okay.
So I need to. I need not have to say anything else. The whole nation has witnessed.
All right, we'll just have to, I think, end it now.
Well, yes, we've given you fair time, we believe. Thank you so much, Dr. Guru Prakash and Mr. Anthony. Thank you, Neerja ma'am. Thank you so much, Sanjay ji. Thank you so much for being with us here on the broadcast and sharing your inputs there.
All right, thank you so much for watching, and and our coverage continues after this short break. Stay with us.